Carol Carlson. And I have several people who want to give her time. If you could just raise your hand. Karen Travis, Lynn Walker, Steve Walker, Jack Lewis, and Sharon Clark. 10 minutes. Name and address.
Carol Carlson, 477 Bruins Trace, Memphis. Although our agenda items were removed from the agenda for today, I know that many of you will be doing your homework as assigned in the committee meeting and deciding some priorities for this during this coming week. And we've all heard a number of ideas and proposals and hybrids and compromises and revisions all on the pension plan. But it seems like one of the biggest questions is whether or not to include employees with under 10 years of service or just new hires in the sweeping changes that you are facing with the pension. Well, first off, I'm curious how anyone can conclude that a firefighter or a police officer with 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years of experience and service to this city could even be considered in the same category as a new hire who actually doesn't even exist yet. That just makes no sense to me at all. But we'll come back to that point in a few minutes. First, I thought you should just learn a little bit of something about just one of these under 10-year employees. One of these people that you're talking about making sweeping changes for, and that apparently the administration has no problem jerking the rug out from under. My son is one of those under 10-year employees, an MPD officer with just about 6 years of service on the job. But that 6 years is nothing compared to the time he spent preparing for this job. He was 3 when he decided to be a Memphis police officer. Now, we lived out of state when he was growing up, but on one of our visits home, my dad, who had just recently retired from the Memphis Police Department, took him down to the Whitehaven precinct to celebrate his 3rd birthday. He was in heaven. He got to have the grand tour of the precinct, and he met lots of police officers. He even got to wear my dad's gold badge and turn on the lights and siren in a police car. He was hooked. Now, that's not too unusual for a 3-year-old. But over the next 15 years, he never wavered from that goal. And he didn't just want to be a policeman. He wanted to be a Memphis policeman. Now, people in Colorado thought that was kind of a strange goal for a little kid. But while his friends were going through dreams of becoming professional athletes and astronauts and rock stars, he never wavered. He always insisted that he would grow up and be a Memphis police officer. Over the years, he talked to police officers on all kinds of departments where we lived in Colorado. He grilled my dad over and over for details of what it was like to work for the Memphis Police Department. And by high school, he had gone on ride-alongs with every metropolitan police department in the Denver area. That's 7 of them. And he was not yet 16. In fact, I quit worrying about him as a teenager when he was 15, and I overheard a conversation between him and a group of his friends. They were wanting to bust into the liquor cabinet and get drunk and go out and have a good time. And I heard my son get angry, and he said, "No. If you think I'm going to jeopardize my career as a Memphis police officer just because you want to get drunk and be stupid, you're crazy. I have a plan, and I'm not going to give it up for you." I kind of quit worrying about him after that point. I figured he would be just fine. When he graduated high school at age 18, he joined the military, because the only place in the country you can be a police officer at age 18 is in the U.S. military. And he spent most of the next 15 years training and studying and earning specialized certifications, gaining knowledge and experience, serving 5 tours in the Middle East, and becoming an elite ground combat training instructor for the Air Force. And then in 2009, on exactly the timeline that he had laid out when he was 14 years old, he left active military service and joined the Memphis Police Department. He actually graduated from the academy #1 in his class. No surprise to me. And as his reward, he chose his assignment, the old Allen Station, Frazier, working the night shift. Now, I have to say, you've gotten your money's worth out of him. The city has made good use of all those years of training, skill development, and experience. He worked patrol in Frazier for several years and then was pulled into the academy, to the range, as an instructor. Today, he's the lead instructor for the MPD Active Shooter School, providing in-service training for every MPD officer, as well as Shelby County and other districts and departments around the state and the region. And the thing about him is, he doesn't want to leave here. He says he's not finished with what he can do for this city. Memphis was his dream, and he worked hard to make it his reality and to prepare himself to give this city his very best. He's one of the good ones, one of the really good ones. But the thing is, you've got a lot of those, and they're still here. Some of them have left already, but some of them are still here, even given the way that they've been treated by their employer. And you can't just go out and hire those good ones. You're not going to find those people walking the streets of Memphis looking for a job. Now, you've been asked to consider what impact changes to the pension program will have on retention. I can tell you a little bit about that. You are in serious danger of losing your good ones. If you don't recognize that a police officer with years of dedicated service deserves better than more broken promises, they'll all go. If you don't see that they should not be treated the same as new hires who don't even exist yet, people who will choose whether or not to join the city employment based on new descriptions of benefits that will be available to them. If you don't understand that difference, you don't deserve the good ones, and they will leave. Right now, they're just waiting to see what you will do. If changes are made that will affect his financial security, even my son, who has spent a lifetime working to get here, has plans for a trip to Austin to see what they have to offer. Could I talk him out of leaving? Maybe, but I won't. If he feels he needs to leave here to find a supportive work environment, I'll tell him to follow his heart and to build a future where a future is offered. I'll tell him that the MPD of his dreams and of his grandfather's stories no longer exist, and that he owes absolutely nothing to this Memphis.